Side Scrollers is brought to you by you. If you'd like to support the show, head over to patreon.com/sidescrollers. It's time for Side Scrollers on youtube.com with me, Stuttering Craig. I like movies that have sand in them. Wow.
He doesn't like it in his mouth.
And producer extraordinaire, Travis Key.
I don't like the texture in my mouth.
What? And brought to you by you, the G2 community at patreon.com/sidescrollers. And now, broadcasting from our homes, it's time for the number one gaming and entertainment podcast on planet Earth. It's time for Side Scrollers.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome on out to Side Scrollers on youtube.com and rumble.com and twitch.tv. For how long, we don't know. We're not signing that terms of service. What's going on, everybody? Hey, I'm Stuttering Craig. Welcome to the number one video game and entertainment podcast on planet Earth every stinking day, Monday to Friday, here on this wonderful channel where we get to meet all sorts of great friends and talk about all the video game news. Hi. It's Side Scrollers. Joining us today, as always, in a less than stellar mood, I guess. Not feeling so great, but he's gutting it out like I know he can. It's Travis Key.
I'm here. I probably won't be as entertaining today, but I'm here.
Well, we need you to reel it back in over the last few days. It's been ridiculous.
Good.
Always asking to reel it in because her ridiculous mouth, just potty words just coming right out of her mouth all the time. It's blabs.
I say no such thing. And also, Travis said I have wrinkles. That's it. Hi.
Raise your eyebrows, Blabs.
Now you, Trav. Now you.
No thanks.
Yeah,
How
no
do you
thanks.
raise your eyebrows?
No thanks.
See them wrinkles?
That's expression.
Those are smile lines, dear.
Nah, you don't know what you're talking about, man. Hi.
I don't even know what's happening so far. Here we go. We're going to have a great show today, guys. Welcome on out if you guys are watching live on YouTube or you guys watching over on Rumble, especially. What's going on, Rumble friends? Joining us today, we got an awesome guest. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Sorry. My dad is actually in surgery right now, so I'm getting text updates right now as it's happening.
Good luck.
So if I take a step back, it's because I'm bawling like a baby. So we'll see.
Well, that wouldn't be very fun.
No, that'd be horrible.
That would not be a good show today.
Side Scrollers is great. Hey, but here's the thing. We got a great guest today. What a great transition to our...
Are you okay?
Welcome in, guys.
Usually I say, oh, never mind. Anyway, go on.
No,
You're prepared to have... Never mind, I'm not going to make that
Jiminy
joke.
Christmas.
Shagsworth has joined us.
Man, everyone's so excited I'm here. Hey, what's up, everybody? Great to be back here on Side Scrollers.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Great to see you, buddy. Welcome on in. Hopefully you're doing well. How's everything going?
Really good. Been busy. Work's busy. I got some great interviews I got planned for the next couple of weeks. We had an awesome killer show on the midweek hump last week. Everything's going really good. Hard work's paying off.
Nice. Absolutely. That's great to hear. Who do you have lined up?
I don't want to say right now because I don't want them to fall through, but they're actually really good conversations that I've been waiting probably a couple of years to have. So as soon as I know that they're locked in, I will definitely share. But yeah, I don't like to jinx things because,
I'm all about jinxing things. I love it. I love it. Make sure you guys go over and check it out right there. There's the channel for you guys to enjoy. You can find over at the Shagsworth over on YouTube right there. You can find the live shows, all the videos, and talk about Twitter and no longer. Sorry, it's an X. But go. I can't believe I didn't even subscribe. There you go. Check that out. There you go.
Caught in 4K. Can you believe that?
No. Accepted in 4K. Hitting the subscribe button.
I'm pretty sure Craig's not even subscribed to my YouTube, so it's okay.
I don't even know what your YouTube is, Blaz.
It's literally me, Blabbering Collector.
I know.
Something I am doing, Craig, that I will advertise because I haven't streamed a video game in so long. That's all I used to do. But recently I've accepted the challenge of doing a Souls level 1 run on Dark Souls 3. And I've gotten all the way through the old Demon King as of last night. So I'm 2 episodes in. I've been doing that, and I'll probably do some more after the show today. But man, what a challenge it's been.
Dark Souls is a toughie, man. It's a toughie for sure. Now, the idea of you're dying, you can't die, is that the idea?
No. So you can't. I can upgrade my weapons, but I can't actually add anything to my stats. Like I can't add to vigor, endurance.
Ooh.
So you start off as the deprived class, so everything's level 10, and you just got to find the right combination of rings and weapons and upgrading them. And it's fun. It's hard though.
That sounds ridiculous. It sounds like something that I could not do for sure.
Yes, you could.
No, I couldn't. But I'll tell you what everybody can do, in addition to going to subscribe to the Shagsworth channel. Make sure you guys also subscribe to the brand new Side Scrollers Plays channel over on YouTube. The link is down below. This is where we're going to be having all of our live streams. You can see yesterday's live stream from Mario Galaxy was over there. So you guys head on over there. We're gonna continue to post them this week here on this channel, but we're going to move all of that over to that channel. So please go over there and subscribe if you guys like that live stream and stuff, and Blab's versus and me playing the Mario Funathon and whatever we have coming up. It's going to be over there. Over on
the next exciting show we have is Blabs versus Wrinkles.
Hey,
easy, Trav. Reel it in.
Hey, I have no wrinkles.
No, but we do actually have.
Don't stag either, and I'm not going to die in 50 years. I got more time than that. Okay.
Let her know, Blabs. Very insecure, but that's okay.
Me?
Blabs, I think you're a beautiful young woman, and
Thank
you're
you.
just going to age like a fine wine. Okay,
Thank you, and smelly cheese. Thank you.
She's going to get more alcoholic over time.
It's weird. So look, tomorrow
is only on my team today. It's fine.
Coming up this week, we have tomorrow is Wednesday, so Adam will be joining us, as well as Flawed. So that should be always spectacular. Then on Thursday, we're gonna have our first ever roundtable, and it's gonna be on Star Wars. We got people from the light side and the dark side coming together, and people are genuinely looking forward to this. So
you made a Sith joke. I'm so proud.
Yeah. What's the light side and dark side? You decide. But we got a bunch of great panels. It's going to be really, really fun, and that'll be on Thursday. Then on Friday we have Dan Vask. Next week we got Desiree, Yumi in the Movies, and Alex Stein joining us next Thursday. So we have a lot of folks lined up, a lot of great guests, including today's wonderful guest Shagsworth. So let's do this thing. We got a lot to talk about today. Lots to talk about. Extra Zero came in with the $5 super chat, getting us going. Thanks so much, Extra Zero. It says Blabs was doing Zuckerberg style water sips, and no one said a thing. Memers assemble. Did you guys hear that Zuckerberg Elon Musk fight might not happen?
What?
I'm shocked. I'd say shocked.
Did you also hear that Threads has lost over half of its users since its launch?
Really? I'm shocked again.
I think it's actually kind of to be expected when it comes to Threads, but I don't know, man. I feel like there's a larger play here with Twitter and X and this everything app, and people are.
What a strange name, Threads.
Well, it's like you have a Twitter thread.
I think the name is fine. It's just poorly timed.
Yeah.
That I kind of feels like it's a little bit copying Twitter. They should have said something else to it.
Well, I mean that's exactly what it was. It's a copy and paste of Twitter. You know how Elon Musk? We saw the video the other day of Elon Musk who was like, "Well, we're just going to copy that. Copy what China did and bring it over here." That's exactly what Zuckerberg did. Copy Twitter, bring it over here. So
he better hope that them Chinese companies don't have copyrights on their shit here.
Now, that global copyright is non-existent. It's all a joke.
Well, I'm saying here. They could be a multinational corporation and just copyright it in our country.
Maybe
slap it on the IPs.
Maybe, but either way, we got a lot to talk about today. We are going to be talking about. Apparently, we're talking about facial scarring. That should be fun. Did
just
you put that in,
with the wrinkles?
I did.
Okay, nice,
I did put that in there.
We have some breaking news today from early this morning, right before we went live. There was some news that. Anita Sarkeesian. Do y'all know this name? Anita Sarkeesian?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sounds familiar.
She has shut down Feminist Frequency, which by the way, the F word I just used is a word that will get you flagged on YouTube for the
Feminist?
yellow dollar sign. Stop
Really?
saying it. Yes. So yes, it is literally a word that will. I was mentioning those words that will get you locked with the yellow dollar sign. That is one of those words. Yes. So
That is pathetic. YouTube, kiss my ass.
Yep. But so we're going to talk about that. That'll be very interesting because there's lots to talk about there. Nintendo's next console has been, they're shipping out dev kits. So that's a pretty big deal. And TikTok is going to kill everybody. So look, we got a lot to talk about today.
Yeah.
We had that picture of what was supposedly going to be the new Switch a couple of weeks ago. Maybe that was true.
No, that was all fake. It was all mock up.
Okay.
No, all fake. Let's start off on Twitter today. We got a lot to talk about because people are lots to talk about. So let's get going. It's time for my favorite segment, your favorite segment, everybody in the world's favorite segment. It's time for Hard News.
This is Hard News.
Let's start over on the Tweetersverse, the Xerverse, whatever it's called, and the angry people that are on there who have nothing better to do than just hang out all day and X away or tweet away or whatever it is, including Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill has come out and he has said yesterday, I guess maybe, this morning at 2 a.m., 1:59 a.m. I guess technically that'd be 11:59 p.m. his time because he's probably California time. So we'll say at 11:59 last night, he put out this tweet. Final tweet until Wednesday, August 2nd, 2023. All I want to do is this. I just want to find 10,011,780 plus folks, which is way more than we have, to go silent tomorrow on Twitter. Not a hoax, not a scam, just a prank to make August a little more blah. Tuesday, don't be here. So I don't know if this is him kind of, Mark Hamill has kind of gone out of his way to be very vocal against Twitter, Elon Musk, while still using the platform pretty extensively. Will Luke Skywalker's call to action cause people to get off Twitter?
It's next Tuesday, right?
No, this is today, right now.
Well, we done fucked that up.
Well, I'm not listening to Mark Hamill.
Yeah, I never listen to Mark Hamill. Usually you're supposed to do the opposite of what he says.
Yeah.
Shags, when you see something like this, are you like, oh, yeah, that's good?
No, I don't understand, man. I just don't understand the hate. Like, they spend all this time hating on the platform, but posting on the platform. Like, it's one of those empty virtue signals. Like, he just wants to be noticed. Look at me, I'm being all good. But just like Ron Perlman, he'll be back.
Of course. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, he literally doesn't have that large of an audience anywhere else. So how could he reach? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So complaining about the place that you have the largest audience or your largest following is kind of stupid,
Yeah.
Well, and the fact he's reaching out with the idea of, he says he wants to reach 10 million people. And this is a very specific number. I wonder why specifically 10,011,780 plus, why he's going that route. But if you look at the number of views on it, it's only, it's less than 1 million, which, by the way, 1 million views on anything is great. Right.
Right.
But it's certainly not 11 million views.
He did have a subsequent tweet saying that Twitter held that one back and that something about this is not the next one reiterated. This is not a hoax or whatever.
Let me guess. Elon is holding him back. It's all a conspiracy against him. Wow.
Of course.
Yeah.
This also like reeks of like mental illness. Like he goes through these bouts just like Perlman does, where he'll put out a tweet that just seems so deranged. Like it was just like almost like a drunken text is what it reads like. It's like, dude, like, just no one cares. Like, it's 2 a.m. or it's midnight. Like, go to bed. Like, aren't you supposed to have your warm milk and tuck into the geriatric ward? Like,
oh no.
Well, and the sad part is with people like him, the less he talks, the more meaningful what he says. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The more he talks, the more it means nothing.
Right.
I think Disney broke him. I honestly think so. Because before he joined like the sequels, We didn't hear anything crazy about him, right? Maybe I'm wrong. But after he joined the sequels, I think they broke him.
I
But now
think-
he's gone deranged.
I think that also goes back to the exposure that we have to them. Like Twitter, there used to be before social media, before Facebook, Twitter in particular, there was a wall between these people that you enjoyed and the art that they created. Right?
Yes.
You would look at them on a pedestal, and in turn, the creation of social media, the creation of Twitter, has broken that wall down. And ultimately, it's made them more human and ultimately seen sides of them that you didn't necessarily want to see.
Mhm.
Well,
So-
also let them abuse that parasocial relationship of being famous.
Definitely there's been abuse on that perspective for sure. You look at the wanting to use their people want to use their reach, their sway to cause the good that they want to cause, and
Right.
cause,
Some people will believe him just because it's Luke Skywalker.
yeah, it's Luke Skywalker. He's got the blue lightsaber or whatever it is. I don't even know what
Need
color.
a blue one, need a green one. It's okay.
Okay, I don't know. But it's not the white one, right? Isn't the white one like super rare, or the black one or something?
Black.
No, the white one's just purified red ones.
Okay, thanks, Blaz. Appreciate that. Appreciate your.
You gotta learn today, Junior.
You're gonna learn today.
That's how gray Jedis get their lightsabers. They purify bad ones.
Who is the most broken celebrity to y'all?
That's
Oof.
a good question.
Can we like the most broken, or can we list a few?
Yeah, fire away. And
I
this
would
is
say
obviously for
Mark
the chat as
Hamill.
well.
Ron Perlman. What's her face's name? The one in
Britney
that
Spears.
show.
And
Britney
that's not,
Spears.
I don't think that has to do with her fault. I think we did it to her.
Yeah.
I think her
Amanda
parents played a lot.
Bynes.
Yep.
She totally went off the rails, and that's really sad also.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Ruffalo, Stephen King. Yeah, chat. You guys know what's up. George Takei. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a lot of that for sure.
Oh,
Melissa Milano, that's who I was thinking of. I'm like, she was the one with like, I hate Tesla. I'm gonna go buy a Volkswagen
Yeah,
because
she
Tesla's
kind
my
of lost it
masterpiece.
15 years ago. She was kind of a little crazy.
Mhm.
Kanye. I mean, like I think there's when you say when I say broken, they said they quite define broken. People who are so obsessive over a singular item, who clearly have some sort of, as Shagsworth said, some sort of mental issue, right?
See, I was just going to say mental illness shouldn't, I think that should be something different. Because I think there's crazy, like actual crazy, and then there's you're choosing to be crazy, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I think a lot of these people make that choice.
Mhm.
There was a really interesting tweet from Elon Musk today, and I feel like he nailed it. And people are gonna be like, like just the fact that I like this tweet, people are gonna be like really upset about it. But it's like it's crazy. It was here it is right here. Unless there are, let me actually show it to you guys. It says, unless there are a few issues where you at least slightly disagree with your political party, then you're not in a political party. You are in a cult.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you can't disagree with them, that's a problem.
Right. And I think that in the entertainment industry as a whole, it's so cult-like. It just seems, you're looking at it from afar. Well, I know people who are in it, and they totally tell me that that's exactly how it is. If you don't agree a certain way, then it's, and it's I don't know, it's crazy to think. It's just like that statement alone is so common sense. It's like, oh yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I'm not saying Elon Musk is perfect, but I'm saying that statement he made makes a lot of sense. Like there should be things that you disagree with in life, whether it's your political party, whether it's with your friends, whether it's whatever. Because at the same time, if you're hanging out with people who all agree with you, isn't that boring?
Yeah, your life's gonna be dull as fuck.
Yep.
Right.
It just sucks because we always have to like editorialize what we say, or like or footnote, annotate. Like, oh, I don't agree with everything Elon Musk says, but I like this tweet. It's like we shouldn't have to do that, but we live in a time where it's just about snipping out gotchas. Like, oh yeah, and we got to clip Craig out of context because it's the only way I can get any sort of like views or clout on this platform.
100%.
Right, but we used to just like when we talk to each other, in real life, we just talk about things we like and disagree with, and then I know that you're not like backing Elon Musk 100%. I just know that this particular thing you enjoy about what he said, and that's it. But every side is guilty of it. It's not like we're innocent, and we do it too. But
I think that's a product of our time, making those jumps. It's like a leap of logic almost.
Yeah.
You know, I'll go ahead, Chags.
I was gonna say social media is what did it to us. It's because we can share our every thought and respond to that every thought that, you know, we feel we need to have a commentary on it, or like need to like, oh wait, well, you said that, like, you know, it's too bad.
Yeah, I mean, I get clipped out of context all the time, you know, when things I say on the show, and people take it and they say, "See what he said? See what he didn't look like an idiot?" And it's like, okay, cool.
Do you guys think it has something to do with society, everybody wanting to be right now too? Like people they don't want to be wrong. Like if you're wrong, you're weak. No, that's how I learn.
People naturally want to be right. They've wanted to be right since the start of time, right? You always want, like, that's part of it. So, but the idea of actually facing some sort of criticism, especially when it's put in your face on your phone constantly and follows you around, it's very hard to deal with. You know, like I go back to my generation was the last generation that was raised with a normal childhood, right? I was raised without social media, but I also grew up with the internet. The internet grew up with me through my adolescence into my adulthood, and I've seen literally the dawn of consumer internet from the start. I feel very lucky for that, because I was been a well-adjusted person prior to all this being thrown at us. That's something that I think today's generation has a very hard time dealing with, and especially when you're dealing with someone who is, you know, in this case, a celebrity that has yes men surrounding them constantly all the time. You're so smart, you're so talented, you're so great, and then when they go on social media and they say something like, "Oh, actually, no." You're wrong, or you're wrong because of this. What? They can't comprehend it.
Well, and then their whole team's like, "Whoa, you got to take that down." So it's a flip, you know. And then they're like, "What the fuck? You guys were all telling me I was right for," you know.
Well, it's a product of social media. It gave everybody. It's a good news, bad news, and I've started saying this more and more on my channel. Life is about balance, and if you can't balance these things, if you can't understand that connecting with people across the world is a great thing, it's not always necessary, and it's not always necessary to be completely involved in other people's lives, celebrities' lives. Disconnecting from that is the important part, and being able to walk away from it and realize that's not real life. People mad at you on Twitter, that's not real. That's a bunch of morons that think they have the right idea. Like, be more involved with what you got in the backyard. I was telling a story yesterday about watching my neighbor every day. He's like 80 years old, and he's got like this loop he does like through his yard. He tends to the garden, checks his trees, makes sure he's trimming them, cuts the lawn, plants in the front yard. Like, the guy is so in tune with his life. But then at night he sits with his wife and they watch the news. The only reason I see this is because that window faces like my front door.
You got your binoculars out.
No, like, but it's the cutest thing. It's
4K.
Like, yeah, for real. But like, that's what people need to get back to, understanding the balance of their own real life and separating from what's on social media, because it's not real, and no one's really paying attention to that. Like, all the followers I have, I love them, but ultimately, like, their affirmation of my opinions doesn't really mean anything in the grand scheme of things, and we need to learn that as a society again.
Imagine how peaceful that guy's life is. You know what I mean? Like, compared to somebody living on Twitter.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. I mean, but there's purpose, right? Like, the guy has a purpose. Every day he wakes up, he knows, I got to go check the vegetables. I'm going to make sure that all the stuff's, working. My irrigation's working. My lawn looks good. And at the end of the day, he feels like everything he needed to do is done, and he can sleep soundly. How many people that even in this chat can say they have a list that they work through every day that they want to do? You know, most people get up and they slog through their 9 to 5, just barely hating them, not hating themselves, and then go home and just unwind with video games, just disconnecting. Like, what is the purpose in that? We just got to find that.
Right. I think there's a lot in what you just said, and so much truth in what you just said as well.
I think we should go to the story I put on next because it plays into all of this. But
okay, we can do that in just a second. But I want to point out a few points in the chat. Charlie says people don't want to correct you; they want to revenge on you.
Yeah,
you see that all the time, where people like, oh, is that right? You think you're right? Well, let me tell you why you're wrong. And then I'm gonna,
Mm-hmm.
it's like the idea of taking a hammer and just trying to beat it home even further because they all want the clout. They'll look at how smart I am.
Well, I think that comes from society now. It used to not be that way. You could disagree with somebody and be their friend or be their colleague or work with them and all that. And now you have to demonize people because if you don't, you're going to be ostracized by your own side.
Yep.
Senator Matt says, I quit social media a few years back and couldn't be happier. Twitter is there to breed hatred. Senator Matt, if you take one Twitter and then you subtract it from your life, and then you multiply that times infinity, it makes ultimate happiness. There you go, Steiner Math. There you go.
Nice.
We got some super chats real quick. Backyard TARDIS says, prayers up for Papa Skitness. Thank you so much, Backyard TARDIS. Appreciate that. Yeah, my dad, I just got a text, actually. They said they are not going to be doing surgery today, just for those who care. There was some sort of medication he took, which could have caused some sort of complication, like a 2 to 5% chance of complications post-surgery. So they pulled off on the surgery.
Oh, it's probably a blood thinner or something.
It's pretty scary stuff, but I'm glad they caught it, to say the least. So Jonathan came in as a member for 9 months. Says, does Mark Hamill realize that we have NFL training camp and MLB trade deadline, so sports fans will be on Twitter for updates? That's true. That's true.
Sports.
Well, just as in everything, that's not in his existence. So it doesn't exist to him.
That's true.
No, he's not aware of that.
That's right. Metastep also came in. He says, I quote tweeted, Musk is invader, bro. Calm down. I like it. And GK came in, says, one good thing about this, before Twitter, celebrities were almost worshipped by younger fans, but now we know they are nuts from the get-go.
Yeah, I actually want to add on to this. So when I was younger, when I was 16, I made a Twitter account. When I was told not to, I wasn't allowed to make one by my parents. But I made one anyway in secret, and I literally followed it just to follow all the actors and actresses of Harry Potter. And then I found out that they were all insane, and I was kind of devastated. I'm like, you guys suck, and now I don't even follow like any of them anymore. So yeah, it's true.
Sad day.
Yeah.
Love that. Thanks. Once again, hit the thumbs up button if you guys haven't. Thank you very much, Shagsworth, for the reminder for our wonderful audience. Whether you guys are watching over on YouTube or on Rumble, appreciate that. If you guys aren't, please head over to Rumble, hit the follow button over there as we close in on 2,500 followers over there. Pure organic, which is awesome. Pure organic. Speaking of Rumble, dude came in with the $1 Rumble rant. Says makes me want to make my first tweet just to snub him. Thanks, dude. Appreciate that. Good stuff. As NZZ says, never meet your heroes. Yeah, man. That is seems like a common theme nowadays, for sure.
I don't know. All the Star Trek cast seems pretty cool to me. Well, the next generation ones. But
I was going to say, George Takei has a word for you.
I was actually going to go on a Star Trek cruise and go meet them all. Go scuba diving with them and stuff. And...
Wow.
Yeah.
So I saw this clip. I know the clip that you sent over, Travis, and you said this applies to what we were just talking about.
Yeah, it's all about your mental, how you see the world. Basically.
Okay, let's go and watch this video real quick. Once again, coming up in just a little bit, we have we got a lot of stuff to talk about. So just hang with us. When you guys are thinking about leaving, give us like 5 more minutes. Just give us like 5 more minutes. We know you guys bounce from segment to segment. Just give us 5 more minutes. It'd be great. All right, here we go. Let's check this out. And this is interesting. I'm not quite sure who this guy is. Do you know who this guy is?
Nope.
Okay.
Just some guy.
Okay. Just a guy, which
His name's John Anderson.
Okay. Here we go.
They did an experiment with a group of women, and they put scars on their faces. And they told these women that they're going into a job interview. And the purpose of the experiment is to find out whether people with facial disfigurements face discrimination. They showed them the scars in the mirror. The women saw themselves with these scars, and as they led them out of the room, they said, we're just going to touch it up a little bit. And as they touched it up, they removed the scarring completely. So the women went into the job interview thinking that they are scarred, but actually being their normal selves. And the result of the experiment is that those women then came back reporting massively increased level of discrimination. Indeed, many of them came back with comments that the interviewer had made that they felt were referencing their facial disfigurements. And this is why I think this ideology of victimhood is so dangerous, because if you preach to people constantly that we're all oppressed, then that primes people to look for that.
Interesting. Very interesting, for sure.
So now you live your life thinking you're oppressed, and you look for these micro oppressions that aren't really there. Nobody's really doing them to you, but you think they're there.
Right. And I think we've all had somebody point at us and say, like, I can't believe you said that. And you're like, what did I just say? You know, because they're looking for something to be offended about or be upset about. We've seen it countless times. And I think this is a really fascinating study, the idea behind it. I don't know if this is true or not, but it sounds accurate, right? Sounds like something that would take place given the kind of the victimhood society that we live in. I will never forget, probably, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 years ago, we had a wonderful mod named Indy Jones. Indy, I was doing a live stream, and I kind of saw this victimhood, society kind of forming, and I nearly tweeted something to the. I said that I nearly tweeted, "Don't be a victim." I nearly tweeted it or something, and I remember Indy being like, "You don't say that. Don't say that." And it's like, it was one of those things where it's like, really, like, you can't say "don't be a victim," and because that in itself is almost like just saying, like, you can't say you can't be a victim is insane to me.
Yeah, because then people who were victims of rape or abuse or whatever might be offended. No, I mean, it's your intent behind what you're saying. If you said it to be mean to them, like you're acting like a victim, so you're weak and all that, then I could see why you would say don't say that. But you're not saying that. You're saying be strong, be who, yes, you may have been victimized, but you're not a perpetual victim.
This stuff bothers me to no end because you can't have conviction anymore. The minute you do, you're labeled as like other, and you're not, or you get labeled as something that you're not. You just, no, I believe this. But also people in the same breath can't be flexible enough to, like, even if you do take a hardline stance on something and you happen to come across new information, you're not allowed to like backtrack on that because it's a sign of weakness. Right. And this is all this is like social conditioning and programming. You're not allowed to deviate from what the group believes. And that happens in both camps. And it's one of the reasons that I occasionally get shit on stuff, is because I don't fall in line with everything. Like my Mission Impossible take is, I don't believe it's a great movie. Everyone else in our community does, but I'm willing to take the heat from it because I'm not going to lie to people over what I think. I will take a stance and believe this is the case. And people don't want to do that. It's much easier for them to settle into the confirmation bias than it is to think for themselves, because they've been told you just be agreeable and go along and you'll be successful. No, that's not how it works. Like, I mean, sure, you can do that, but it's okay to take a stance against something else. Doesn't mean you're a bad person. And I'll give you an example real quick. I listened to the PPD podcast recently, and they had Chris Cuomo on. Mm-hmm. I hate Chris Cuomo, like or at least I thought I did. I listened to that 3-hour podcast, and I was just like, holy crap! My whole perspective on where he's coming from changed. Understanding who this person was on a human level, not from a political level. And that's you got to be willing to take the hits on this stuff. Most people are not, because they've been ingrained in social media, and they believe that those are real people and that they're affecting their lives. It's a trick, man. It's meant to keep people like quiet, and docile, and just in line. But it's not how we're going to move forward in this.
Yeah, and to what you were saying, I think the hardest thing to do is to fight your own side, right?
Yeah.
But you have to. Otherwise, how are they going to move? How are they going to change their opinions? Because you have however millions of people saying the same thing. Well, they can't change their opinion unless the leader or whoever, somebody says something that would change all their opinions. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Man. So how do you do it?
What you just said was like so profound. The idea, like, you can't be afraid to fight your own side. right?
Mhm.
That's hard, you know. When if you have those convictions like Shagsworth was talking about, you have to stand up for them, right? And sometimes you look at things, and it goes back to that tweet, right, from Elon Musk saying, like, if you can't see some things that are wrong with whatever whatever your political party is or whatever, then there's issues there, then you're a part of a cult. So
Yeah.
which I think this kind of, I feel like, people go, oh, you guys talk about this stuff too much, but like this is a common theme across the gaming space as a whole, right? I think when you look at the gaming community as a whole, there's a lot of people searching for something larger for them. There's people who gravitate to games because, like, people talk about, oh, there's this stereotype of gamers, right? The basement dwellers, no friends. But there's truth in stereotypes, right? A lot of people gravitate to games to find friends or because they don't have friends. And think about how many friends, like, you guys are my buddies. Outside of Travis, actually I met Blabs in person once, but like Shags, I think of you as a friend, right? I've never met you before. And so we're friends online, right? That's why people got together and started gaming to begin with, because it was a hobby that could bring people together.
Yeah.
So, like, there are issues with mental health, with victim mentality in the gaming space that it's just not being talked about. It's something that is refused to be talked about. It's this elephant in the room where everyone wants to go, oh no, everything's fine, and just because I have mental health issues or whatever, I'm totally I'm okay. It's like, well, no, I mean, let's actually talk about this. So
Yeah, I think that comes down to it. You get demonized if you say that stuff by your own side at that point. And I think you have and if you're a moral person, this is my opinion, it may not be other people's opinion, but I feel like I have a moral obligation to speak up when I believe something, because I may change somebody's mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it depends on how you do it too. You know what I mean? If you run outside screaming, I'm right, listen, like a raving fucking lunatic, nobody's
Right.
gonna believe you. But,
well, I think it's also important though that when you talk with somebody, you have to be willing to listen to them as
Yes.
well, right?
Well, and go into it knowing you may be wrong.
Right, exactly. And I think that's something that is so lost nowadays. But let's actually move into the next story, because I think it all ties into what we're talking about here, right? This kind of the victimhood mentality. Anita Sarkeesian is shutting down Feminist Frequency. Now, Blabs, do you know what this is? Do you know what Feminist Frequency is?
Isn't it a giant organization for something equality?
Right. It's not a giant organization. It was more or less Anita Sarkeesian making videos about this, right? But it got a lot of press, especially when it came out, because it was more. Well, let me give you an example. Actually, here's a video. Anita Sarkeesian, for those who don't know, this is her kind of in a nutshell here. This is a really brief rundown of a pretty famous quote.
Everything is sexist, everything is racist, everything is homophobic, and you have to point it all out.
Okay, so
Brain dead take.
So that's her.
Yeah, when you live in her bubble and you see it all as that way, yes.
Right.
Well, I find her offensive.
So what I thought we'd do is
or cultural appropriation, since she dyed her hair red.
Well,
and Egyptians did that.
Listen, these are all great things to ask, but she says, long and short, she says, I'm ending it because I'm extremely burnt out, and she's just tired of fighting the fight, more or less. Like that.
So you didn't. Oh.
Right. Go ahead, Shags. What are you saying?
No, it's like, so you didn't believe in what you're actually doing is what it comes down to. That's why her whole thing is just one big virtue signal. Because if what she said was actually true, she wouldn't be in the position that she was in. If it was really sexist, if it was really racist, you wouldn't see anybody in these positions. And she's there. Most of these people who are actually talking about it are in these high positions of power and make way more money than any of us do. So, like, I tune this crap out because it's just 100% untrue, and they just use their power and influence to convince other people who are less than them to be outraged at nothing.
Well, and if she believed everything she had said in the past was true, like I said, doesn't she feel there's a moral obligation to keep talking about it? If you truly believe all of what you were saying, that everything's racist and everything's sexist and everything's discrimination, and you're one of the only people saying that, how could you stop?
Yeah.
So she actually, one of her things was she went in, and this is where she got a lot of grief from a lot of people. She did a Kickstarter a few years ago in 2018 that was built around tropes and women and et cetera, et cetera. And she raised about $160,000 on that, right? And the idea was we wanted to do this series about it, and people looked at it as like, why does she need $160,000 to do a series about this, right?
Well, right, and the picture she used, so she's got like weak, what you would consider weak women who need rescued, and then she has Laura Croft there. Like, what?
Right.
Okay, the trope with Laura Croft, she has big boobs. So what? Women have big boobs.
So I thought we'd look back at probably her biggest hit, which was her first video as a standard thing, and just kind of, this is obviously they're talking about the damsel in distress. You got to save the princess, right? And she has an intro, and she provides examples of why this is a bad thing. But I wanted to go in and as we watch this, just for a brief second, just for a minute or so, Blabs, I would love to hear your thoughts on all this.
Yeah, I'm curious.
As we go through, and because it's easy for us to talk about this, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. So here we go. She's going to talk about this this Star Fox game.
Let's start with a story of a game that no one ever got to play. Back in 1999, game developer Rare was hard at work on a new original title for the Nintendo 64 called Dinosaur Planet. The game was to star a 16-year-old hero named Crystal as one of two playable protagonists. She was tasked with traveling through time, fighting prehistoric monsters with her magical staff, and saving the world. She was strong, she was capable, and she was heroic.
And who might you be, animal girl?
My name is Crystal!
By the way, it is worth noting the ratio on the bottom of the screen.
I'm just laughing about this because I have some feeling it was canceled because it was a woman's game and it wouldn't sell. No, it was just a shit game.
Well, let's continue.
Pretty cool, right? Well, it would have been, except the game never got released. As development on the project neared completion, legendary game designer Shigeru Miyamoto joked about how he thought it should be the third installment in his Star Fox franchise instead. Over the next 2 years, he and Nintendo did just that. They rewrote and redesigned the game and released it as Star Fox Adventures for the GameCube in 2002. In this revamped version, the would-be protagonist Crystal has been transformed into a damsel in distress and spends the vast majority of the game trapped inside a crystal prison, waiting to be rescued by the new hero, Fox McCloud. The in-game action sequences that were originally built for Crystal were converted to feature Fox instead.
So, just give you a little snippet of what she does and what she did, right?
I'd like to ask her, before you start, has she ever let a man pay for her dinner? If so, she's feeding into stereotypes, and women are weak and need taken care of, and they need men to pay for their food.
I hope somebody slammed the door in her face. Just saying.
It's just, it's all hypocritical shit.
I love this screen frame, by the way.
Perfect pause.
Sorry. But with that said, I think that the one thing that she totally left out here, it's very straw man, right? It's the idea of like, hey, she was a girl and they turned it into a boy and then it made it a game. Like, no, I'm sorry. What they did was they took an IP that nobody knew and they gave it a strong IP that everybody knew and said, this is a better business decision because somebody will look at this and want to buy it because it's Star Fox. That's what they did.
Like I said, could have just been a shit game.
Yeah. Right. So from what I gather, she's upset, and as you say, because the female character got erased into an existing IP that obviously was more popular and would make more money and be more successful. So obviously, why wouldn't you do that? And fine, you want to get pissed off because she went from a strong heroic character into a damsel in distress. Whatever. Okay, you may have a point there, but also then just create another character, right? Just do a new character and make it a better story. If it was such a shitty story, do something better. But to me, it just sounds like she's hating on a video game. I mean, how many times have they made a video game and it got canceled, right? That
Oh.
Star Wars video game got canceled. How many video games got canceled? I mean, we had Amanda Miller on, and she even said it, right? That some video games never came to life. So were they all female characters that were like canceled off those games, or were most of the male characters that were canceled and never came to life, right? So bitch, shut up. That's all I got.
It totally negates the fact that there's actually popular side characters in video games that are female. Like there are dozens of games where we all remember the damsel, or we remember the side characters that are women. That like I don't. Again, this is just it's just a big sham, and it totally fell apart on her. And now now she'll play the victim. Like, oh, well, it was me. Like, no, your message fell through. Everyone's seeing through the bullshit. And there are strong female characters out there, but not for nothing, but who are women calling to when they need saving? They're not calling their girlfriends to do it. They're expecting a man to come stand up for them. And I hate to say it, but
unless it's Sailor Moon.
And that's what I mean by, has this woman ever let a man pay for her dinner on a date?
Yep.
It goes back to.
I think all these people, all these women who come out there reading and yelling about, oh my God, inequality, when if you take a step back and realize society was built by men, wouldn't have all this stuff if it wasn't for men. Apple, Samsung, plumbing, architecture.
Well,
men,
technically,
society.
I'm going to correct you. The plumbing was stolen by Romans, and it was a female African queen who had the first plumbing in her city, by the way.
All right,
and
so
the first
stone
multi-level
plumbing
building.
was men.
She had the first skyscrapers ever in the world, too. But
all right, listen. Some architecture, some plumbing. We'll say most of it, men. Men have shaped society. So sit down and make me a sandwich.
Well, it's because we never gave women the opportunity, Blabs. That's why.
Okay.
Allow me to fight back. But,
sure.
But I think
I have no opportunities.
Right. Listen, Blabs, we're holding you down. You know that.
Yes.
But I think there's things like, Chun-Li, Laura Croft, Jill Valentine. We're talking about characters that are, pretty iconic in the video game space that are just totally discredited. Like the idea that, well, these characters, they're all damsels in distress. And I do think that there is an immense irony that her first video started talking about damsels in distress, and now ultimately she is the one who is the damsel in distress.
she's acting like one, ain't she? Needs help.
So there you go. Rest in peace.
If you want to be upset that they took a badass character and she became a damsel in distress, I can kind of see that and be like, oh man, we could have gotten something cool. I can get that, but just remake a new game then. Put that ideologic to the use and make an actual good story, Not just that some badass femme fatale thing with like a Mary Sue, no flaws like they do nowadays, right? Give us a good game with an actual character arc.
Yeah, and who's to even say that this character was badass anyway? Like we see some gameplay, and that's about it. We have, there's no indication about story background.
Exactly.
And it's risky putting out new IPs. I mean, everyone knows that. That's why we get all the remakes and everything. But in this case, I think they made the right choice putting her into a Star Fox game, because if it works out and people like this character, however long she's in, maybe there is consideration for having a spin-off to do it. But if the character goes unnoticed, I'm sorry, it wasn't well received, And again, I haven't played many games or watched many movies, unfortunately, that feature that strong female character that's really roped me in. It might be my own thing. I just don't relate to that character. But again, there's many movies out there that I do like that have strong female leads, but they don't beat you over the head with it,
Exactly. I think that with that point for the video games is that I have the wrong people in the industry creating the games and the stories. Because they either have like the guy who just can't really try to put himself in a woman's shoes and like, well, okay, what would she do? Because guys and girls obviously think different. I know, shocking. And then they have the woke, blue-haired Landwells, and they're like, they got nothing in the middle.
They're just people who have never been told no or never been told that they suck, right? They've just been affirmed their whole life. And when they do finally get pushed back, because they've made that their entire identity, it's like a character assassination to them. So
I'm going to clarify for the chat. People were saying that's not true. I don't believe that about the women queen. It was actually Kandaki Aman Arenas was her name, and the Kush Empire. Yes, it's a real thing.
Okay, thank you, Travis. Appreciate that.
Producing hard.
Travis holds on to things, man. He's like, hey.
I don't say things unless I know them to be true.
So, just for quick reference, asking about like what Anita Sarkeesian did previously to Feminist Frequency.
Yeah, how did she get popular?
The answer is nothing. The answer is nothing. On her LinkedIn, she actually has Feminist Frequency as her most recent thing, obviously. Prior to that, consultant and, well, I guess consultant and public speaker is what she has been doing. But prior to that, there's nothing listed outside of her degree from York University in social and political thought.
We had somebody like that the other day who they were like in school and they created the thing that we were talking about. It was yesterday.
Yeah, it was the Center for Online Hate or whatever it was.
I love that these people who have never had like an in real life job think they know everything.
That's how they get qualified. I mean, if you look at it, it relates and correlates perfectly to all these new writers that Disney hires. They've never written anything in their life. I mean, like, let's say Disney, they're hiring people who've never even seen Star Wars in their life. Like, they're just hiring people not even for qualified and just, for checkbox purposes. And
yeah,
you're
right, but when you get a writer for a show, and if they know nothing about the show and the show's been around for fucking 20, 30 years, you got a fucking problem. You know what I mean?
Exactly,
like,
and this is what they're doing with video games, too. Just bringing in people for the sake of it.
Well, they're writing... And they're writing shows for a modern audience. That's why. I mean, they've even come out and admitted, we've been told not to watch this show. We've been told not to research these roles because they don't care about how they're written before, because it was written with toxic masculinity or, whatever. But that right there loses the entire audience, because what we loved about these characters was how they were written, not how you are writing them. And so they think they don't need to have people with experience. There's, oh, well, you've told a story before. Great. Thank you for ruining something I love.
Well,
yeah, it's one of them things. She could have been proven wrong just by pointing out all the strong female leads.
Rest in peace, Feminist Frequency.
Yeah, I thought it was something to do with he for she when you mentioned her name, but she doesn't even have anything to do with that either. So she really is useless, isn't she? Oh, well.
Oh, Fenrir in the comments says Iron Man was not toxic. But Iron Man was toxic. The whole point of the Iron Man is, I mean, he was an alcoholic and he was a womanizer. And but the point is people like that can step into the role of a hero and be a hero and make choices that are selfless. That's the point. That's good storytelling, because the fact is that normal people are sometimes evil.
Yes.
Every single one of us has thought about ourselves before other people, and that's what makes things. And actually, this is actually a quote from Konstantin Kisin, I believe, or no, Michael Malice. Michael Malice was talking about this on I think it was Normal World. Actually, it's borderline propaganda when we market people in movies, everyday people, as just good people. The fact is that the evil out there, people do evil on a smaller scale. There's very few really evil people out there. And we forget that.
Yeah, I think it was Justice League Unlimited in the very last episode. It's a cartoon, but let me get to the point. Lex Luthor ends up saving the entire planet. Why? He's the worst villain there could be. Even the worst of us can save us all. Was the point of it. He would rather rule the world than have it destroyed. You see what I'm saying? And he would rather it live without him than be destroyed.
Right. A few super chats real quick. Extra Zero came in, says, I say meet your heroes. It's important to know who they really are. I never would have expected Gilbert Gottfried to be such a gentle soul off stage. Oh, nice, Extra Zero. Cool. I love it.
Pretty cool.
Love it. Yeah, unfortunately, he died.
Jesus Christ. And then he died.
Rest in peace.
And Blabs will die.
That's right.
Thanks.
In 50 years.
In 50 years.
Sorry.
Shane
Sprinkles.
came in with the $9.99. Thank you so much, Shane. It's massive. Says, I know this is an unpopular opinion, but I really enjoyed Star Fox Adventures. It had great graphics and a cool story for the time. In other words, this lady can eat it. Thank you, Shane. Appreciate that. Yeah, and you're not wrong. I was looking at Metacritic, and it has an 80% rating, both from a critic and a viewer or a gamer perspective. So
We should
Star
play
Fox,
it.
it's not for me. I played it a lot actually in the early GameCube days. So
Static Blue said Iron Man was more of a hedonistic, but the point was his character could flip around after this life experience. He was flawed, but he's willing to change and better himself and willing to help others. Yeah,
Right.
that's a human being.
Scotty came in and said, been wearing my side scrollers hat at work. Adam and Craig are darty unas. I don't even know what that means.
What does
but
that
thank you.
mean?
I don't know, but thank you so much, Scotty.
I'm a Google.
You too are that.
I know an
Oh.
Unas is from Stargate, but
Oh, nice. Find out what it is, Blabs. And Seth Trollins came and says the main composer for FromSoft, Yuka Kitamura, has announced her exit from the company and is becoming freelance. Oh boy. Listen to some of her bops today in her honor. Stay winning, guys. Wow, that's pretty big because FromSoft is some pretty good tunes. I was gonna say From Software, but yeah, for FromSoft, yeah. Anyways, yeah, but I would love to listen to those tunes. The problem is I don't want to get flagged for copyright, and especially with video game music, it's like a thing now. It's all listed and stuff.
I have the definition for you. Apparently, it's Aboriginal Australian communities use it, and it means the coolest of cool. Nothing else can compare to something so cool, according to Urban Dictionary. So
Hey.
you are the coolest of cool in Australian words.
Ooh.
You gotta do this when you do ooh.
I'm not touching tips like that. Sorry, Blab.
It doesn't mean anything. Oh no, that's not what it means. Even Travis.
I'm not doing that. I'm just gonna let you know, Trav. I'm not doing that.
Did I just disappear for 2 seconds?
No. Platypunk came in with a $5 super chat.
What just happened?
Says I'm a little behind. I'll be tweeting on Mark Hamill's behalf all day today. There you go, Platypunk. Love that.
It will.
Love that. And then Sal came in and says, she never played a game in her life before she started the series. In her Hitman video, she said you get more points if you kill women, which is BS because you lose points by killing people who are not your target. Thank you, Sal. Appreciate that. Like, once again, that goes into the idea of like you don't want to look at it objectively. She's
yeah,
like,
she'd be the person. You can in GTA, you can kill hookers and beat them up. Yeah, you can do that to anybody.
Jesus. You can do that in real life too.
Whew, out of context, Trav. Can we get it?
I should have thought about that one.
God damn.
Dude also came in, says Tifa, Aerith, and Yuna are all fan favorites, and they aren't the playable protagonists in the game, but they are pivotal to the story.
Absolutely.
That's right.
And they all have nice boobs too.
Helps.
Love them dudes.
All right. Way to go, Blabs. Nailed it.
A stamp of approval from Shags. Yes, tits.
All right, let's go to our lead story today. A lead story, big news. We've talked about this. We've talked about the all the rumors attached to Nintendo and the next Switch or the next Nintendo console. Well, sources have indicated that Nintendo has sent out development kits to developers so they can start making games on the new console, and that it is targeted for release, ladies and gentlemen, for 2024. Next year, we will be getting a new Nintendo Switch console, which is pretty insane to think about. So they've gone out of their way to say that, there's two sources spoke to VGC, which is this outlet. It says to suggest that the console could launch with an LCD screen instead of the more premium OLED in order to bring costs down. That was the big push for the premium Switch, especially considering the increased storage needs for the higher fidelity rates. The current Switch comes with a 32 gigabyte internal memory, while many current games, current gen PlayStation are over and Xbox are over 100 gigabytes. So, like the predecessor, the new Nintendo console will also accept physical games via a cartridge slot, which is, I think, a very, very big deal. So
Mm-hmm.
going back to the cartridges instead of the discs, which I love. I just love having cartridges instead of discs.
See, I'm worried.
Do they have a name for it?
No, that has not been announced.
I'm worried for Nintendo with this one, only because I don't see it being different enough to sell consoles unless
they haven't said anything really about it yet either.
Unless they start like releasing their Zeldas and all that as console sellers for it. But to be honest, it in of itself, I don't think it sounds similar enough to the Switch. They're going to stay mobile for sure.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't see anything that's different enough to get people to buy it. You know what I mean?
The Switch Pro, that's what it's going to be. The thing with Nintendo is you got to be ready for disappointment. They march to the beat of their own drum. It's been working for them in a lot of ways. So that's the thing about the new consoles is with Nintendo is that it's never been about graphical fidelity like it has been for PlayStation and Xbox. They don't really fall in line with that. But I have a feeling it's going to be a disappointment to many, but I know people are looking forward to probably more storage space and a couple of new games or IPs.
Yeah, see, I think that it's just going to be an upgraded Switch. I think it'll be.
I'm pretty neutral right now
Pro.
because we don't really know anything about it yet. So I'll just be like, wait and see what they say, what the specs are and everything, and then I'll be like, okay, unnecessary. Oh, whatever. People are gonna love it. I know I won't be getting it because I barely play Switch as it is, and mine is like only a year old.
Yeah, even as far as graphical chips go, I don't think there's a better one they can use than the one they're using in the Switch right now.
I mean, you could. I don't know what the hardware. I mean, I assume the hardware is pretty good in the Steam Deck. I mean, you're playing some really great games, not at high frame rates or anything, but the problem is you go up in you're increasing your hardware, the price is going to increase quite a bit, and that's one reason I've stayed away from the Steam Deck is it's just way too expensive. I'm not ready to throw.
And your power usage, Nintendo's battery even have the power to power a higher performing CPU or GPU? Right. I don't know.
They don't make games designed with that anyway.
Yeah. So there's a few things here that I think we don't know yet. Obviously, will it be backwards compatible, right? If you're using cartridges, will you be able to play all your Switch games on your new Switch 2 or whatever? The other and most important thing for this is they need a way to separate it from the Switch, right? If it looks like a Switch, people are going to say it's a Switch. You think of how Nintendo successfully has marketed themselves in the past versus how they failed. Biggest failure from one console to the other, Wii to Wii U. What does Wii U mean? I don't know. Like it was the worst, worst marketing ever. The console itself, pretty good, right? Right, but nobody had any idea what it was. Great examples of marketing. The Nintendo to the Super Nintendo, the Game Boy to the Game Boy Advance, right? Those are really good examples. It tells you that it's a power-up version. So if they were to call it like a Super Switch or a Switch Advanced or a Switch, I don't even think Switch Plus is good enough. But there needs to be, if it is a more powerful version of something they already have in existence that looks and feels just like this, it's not good enough. It needs to have very clear marketing as to what it is, because I think of it from your generic mom's perspective, right? Who goes to Walmart and sees it on the shelf. They're like, "Oh, how is this any different?" Whereas you could tell on a Wii, you could tell on a Wii U, that it was different than a Switch.
Yeah. So what was the reason for calling it a U anyway? I'm trying to find it.
The idea that
did they ever say?
The idea that it was about you. Yeah. That was the idea. It was about you.
With the Wii U, if you take away the handheld part, even the system's the same shape as the Wii. It's like about the same size. So I could see how you'd easily confuse it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I actually have both. I actually have both the Wii U gamepad and the Switch right next to each other. And yeah, they actually are very...
Well, I was talking about the Wii U and the Wii. The fact that they're so similar, but these two are similar. I honestly think they made the Wii U just to test out making a mobile platform.
Oh, 100%. That's it. I was just going to say the Wii U was a necessary step in getting to the Switch and understanding what people wanted, because you couldn't take the Wii U with you. The best part about what I used to use that Wii U for was someone would be watching TV and I could play the Wii U on my handheld because it didn't need to be projected to the TV. I could just play right on the screen. And even the 3DS was sort of like you're jumping from the 3DS to that, like the kind of the dual screens, being able, because when it was on the TV, you could use the pad as like a map or, stuff for games, which was awesome and cool. But yeah, the leap from the Switch to the Switch Pro or whatever it will be called, if it's a storage upgrade, great. Moving away from the OLED is kind of weird. I feel like they should be able to figure out how to just have it come standard as the OLED with the increased storage. I don't know what they do to improve. I'm not a hardware guy, so I don't really know, but they need to launch with some like good games is what they need. They need strong.
Yeah. Nintendo, they're gonna, what they'll do is they'll port we'll see if they
Breath
can.
of the Wild 2,
Right. Well, real quick, Apple's Angel says non-gamers can't tell the difference between different consoles anyways. And that's the biggest point, right? Like gamers can, non-gamers can't, right?
Right.
So, chat, question for you. What would be your name for the next Nintendo console? What should it be? Switch, Super Switch, Switch 2, whatever. Even Switch 2 is a better name than like Wii U. That doesn't make any sense. So, always
Switch to you. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the idea of the OLED, it's strictly a cost thing, because the idea of the console itself is you don't want to outprice your audience. You want to get as many in your hands as possible and get as cheap as possible, to the point where you're even willing to lose money on the development of them, and just because the goal is to sell games. So, yeah, there you go. Let's see. So that's 2024, which 2024, the Nintendo fiscal year runs through, I believe, the end of March. So that could technically be as early as April. But I think the smart thing to do for Nintendo would be to release it, obviously, towards the tail end of the third quarter, into the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
just in time for holidays. Yes.
Yeah, that would be their absolute best bet. They would be gangbusters. And if not, delay it to 2025, make it right. Releasing it first thing like early next year would be a huge mistake, but I think it would be great for holiday release.
Yeah, or they'll do that, and then the next year they'll release their made for the Switch games, Zelda or Mario or whichever, to sell some more consoles.
Yeah, or you launch towards kind of the tail end of the summer. With maybe 8 to 10 games, and then you think about like the launch lineup for the Switch. It was not very good. I bought a lot of games for the Switch launch, which I haven't played since the Switch launch. I think like 1-2 Switch and games like that. You need those more or less glorified tech demos when you launch a console for when you launch quote unquote real games. 3, 4, 5 months later. Because you always want to dangle the carrot out.
What happened to that Switch cardboard shit?
Oh yeah, it's funny. The Labo, I have that. My kids loved it for like one day, and it was like $200. It was stupid. So
in these consoles, they need whatever the new one is. At this point, it requires backwards compatibility. If you're launching a console without backwards compatibility, even if it's just digital, you're doing it wrong. You're alienating 3/4 of your audience easy. Because I want to be able to take a game and slide it into the new one. I don't play the Switch often, but if I'm going to upgrade my hardware, at least give me the ability to put the old games in, because there's no reason it shouldn't happen. I know sometimes it's a performance thing, but I just don't see how that's an issue nowadays.
I think that one of the games that you'll see announced, there's been rumors of this open world Donkey Kong Country, or an open world Donkey Kong game. We talked about that a few months ago, and that would be a really cool game to be announced alongside the console. You're obviously going to launch a new console with a Mario game. That's been or whether it's a 3D game, or maybe Odyssey 2 comes shortly after the launch of whatever the console's called. But they obviously have a really intense marketing plan ready to go, with a calendar that's 5 years out as far as what they're planning to release for that console and the Switch. And I think that'll be the most intriguing thing for me, is how do they support the Switch for the next 2 to 3 years, and until they sunset it, because that's
I'm
what they
gonna
need to do.
piss a lot of people off in saying this. An open world Donkey Kong game is just Banjo Kazooie with monkeys.
I don't want that. I mean, Donkey Kong Country is like my favorite. I haven't played Tropical Freeze. Everyone says I need to.
Awesome.
But Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and even 3, love those games. And I've played them probably 30 times. Maybe not the third one, but like in total, I've played so many times through that. But an open world one, I just think you'll lose the magic of Donkey Kong. I could be wrong, but that's what I want.
It's almost like an open world Sonic game, huh?
I still say the way to make it happen is you release a Nintendo Netflix style just monthly subscription that allows you to play this entire backlog of games. Like I said, I already have something like that with the Switch Premium, whatever subscription service that I have that allows you to play the N64 games. But if you spent time and Nintendo released official Nintendo products of their entire backlog and just made that available, oh my gosh, people, and you could treat it like movies or series and have them come and go, put some in the vault, release them back a year later or whatever, and create some of that desire for the games. I think there's something to that. But as soon as Nintendo wakes up and does something like that and creates some sort of service that will allow you to play all those classic games in real time, possibly online. And I realize that once again, there's something very similar to that, but it's not all of the, it's not the entire Nintendo catalog, which is what I'm asking for. That's when, I mean, Nintendo's going to make money regardless.
Well, they're going to have to sell it to you as the N64 package and the Super Nintendo package and the Nintendo, so that they can double up on their money making.
I mean, that'd be huge. Ryan says another subscription. It'd be the only subscription that you need. Legitimately the only subscription, at least I think for a lot of people. Again, the thing that Nintendo has that Microsoft and Sony don't have is they don't have our childhoods. They don't have characters that people love. They don't have IPs that they own and dominate their consoles with. Nintendo does that, and they've done that since the first Famicom. They've made relatable characters that they own and they operate, and that sell. What was it? 39 of their top 40 games on their console were Nintendo IPs. Like, that's what you're buying when you buy a Nintendo console. And Nintendo is a Nintendo game player. You're not buying it for anything else. So Extra Zero came in with the $2 super chat. Thank you so much, Extra Zero. Says, just need to be the GBA to the Switch's Game Boy. Yes, I agree. Yeah. And Kyle came in saying, my only fear is the branding decay in sales, like NES to Super Nintendo. But that was because Sega joined. But the Game Boy to GBA, DS to 3DS, Wii to Wii U, right? Correct.
Yeah, the Game Boys only sold more units every time they got a new one. So, like,
yeah. All right, cool. I love it. Sounds good. That is all we have. I think that's all we got for today. We got some memes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, hang on, we got some more.
Fire them in there. Let's get going. As we move on to our memes, I want to remind everybody once again, if you're just popping in for the first time, please do us a favor. Head over and subscribe to the Side Scrollers Plays channel. It's right there, ready to rock. We just rebranded it the other day. We're closing in on 3,000 subscribers over there. Would love for you guys to hop in. That's where we're going to have all of our live streams. So consider checking it out. You saw we had our first one over there for Mario Galaxy. Love for you guys to find us over there, as well as finding us over on Rumble, which is great. Over on rumble.com/sidescrollers. You can join the chat over here. Look at them. That's great. So please consider and do that. Join us over there. Love that. Let's get to some memes, shall we? We shall. I got to pull them all up. Let me get them. Nope, wrong. One more. There we are. Okay. All right.
5.
Cool. Let's do them. Let's hit them up. Also, head over and subscribe to the Shagsworth channel. I mean, that'd be really great as well.
Mm-hmm.
Help that son of a gun out. Let's go. All right. The moment Shagsworth saw Chris Cuomo on a human level. There you go.
I knew I'd get shit for that.
The intense stare right there.
He's got a giant Q-tip.
I won't. I will defend myself. It was a good episode. It was. You have to listen to it. Like me saying that. Like Chris Cuomo was based at times. Like everyone's going, oh my god, are you kidding me? But again, this is the pushback I'm talking about. I got to do it. It was a good episode. I learned a little bit. I still think he's kind of scummy for working for CNN. I don't trust them as far as I can throw him. So
we got this one from. Look at this brand new one from Jackson. Jackson comes in and says all the people are so mad right now. They may not have blue checks anymore, but they're still certifiable.
I like that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jackson. We got this one from Extra Zero. Says turns out that Blab's awkward sip was just her getting ready for the Star Wars panel on Thursday. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
The awkward sip. We got this one from Extra Zero. Says Blab's fatal flaw was advertising her life expectancy to Craig. Realize Blab because Craig couldn't wait 50 years for the memes to drop. There you go.
He even got my birthday right, 1996.
Child. Oh my
Hey.
god. This is
11.
For fetus, not
I
child.
was 11 when you were born.
Extra Zero says not my meme, but an old but gold one worth sharing for the sake of posterity. Complaining about unrealistic depictions of women in video games. Oh. That's actually hilarious.
Wow.
The realistic pictures versus their drawn pictures.
Crazy.
I mean,
I'm not gonna lie, it's really funny.
Well, because right, I mean, everyone says Lizzo's beautiful, but if I were to call like Blabs, you're glowing like Lizzo today, you'd be like, "Excuse me," you know.
Just call me a heifer.
what was up with the Southern accent when he said that? You call me a heifer?
You call me a heifer?
I'm sorry. We got to go back to that. That's really funny. That makes me laugh so much.
It's funny because they got like double chins in the animation. It's beautiful.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, that's so
I
funny.
mean, it is more accurate.
It's so accurate. It's so funny. Oh my god, Extra Zero, you didn't make that, but you won my heart today. Then we got Brahmin Noodles coming in. Brahmin Noodles, great to see you coming in with that $4.99. Says Def Jam Fight for New York is the remake that people demand. The game was amazing and is only on the Xbox and GameCube. Yep. Brahmin Noodles, you may be the only one demanding that, but I do know that a lot of people,
Party of one.
Wasn't that weird game with them rappers that were killing everybody or fight? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. It was a fighting game built around rappers beating each other up.
Yeah,
it's great. It's funny.
Well,
but
I mean,
people do
fighting,
like
not shooting.
We gotta reel him in, guys. That's ridiculous.
First he went off with my wrinkles, and now it's Grand Theft Auto in real life. You can't take him anywhere.
Unreal, just unreal.
I'm just saying, it's not like there's been.
He's still going.
It's not like there's
he
been.
He pulled at me. Well, I didn't even realize I was backstage right there. I just kept talking. You brought me back, and I'm like, was I off?
It's not like there's been a history of rappers getting shot or anything.
No, never.
I just love that. I like that Trav continued the conversation with himself outside of being
and
on.
His dog.
Hey, Andy's smart.
Oh man, love that. Hey, give it up for the coconut coming in with that 149 super sticker. Let's go, coconut. Outstanding. Appreciate that. All right, awesome. Great way to finish this show, guys. Appreciate everybody being here and being a part of what we have going on here on a day-to-day basis. Once again, I'm back here in just a little bit with some. I'm close on Mario Galaxy. Like I think I got 1 or 2 more streams. So hop on in. I'm actually playing some pretty good levels here, which has been really, really nice. I encourage everyone to head over to the Shagsworth channel. It's at the Shagsworth over on YouTube and subscribe to this fine-looking bearded man right next to me, which is wonderful. And one more massive donation blast before we go. Henry Davis came in with the $50 direct donation. Thank you so much, Henry. Says, great stuff today. Appreciate the chatter. Let's go. Henry, that's Henry Davis with the 50 blabs.
Balls. Ooh, Shagsworth. Shagsworth have to do it. Say balls.
Balls.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, you can do it better.
I thought that was great.
I want to look you in the eyes and say balls.
Go ahead. Yeah, do it.
He just did.
Again.
Balls.
Mm.
Balls.
He gets all the balls. Balls.
Ball pit.
All right, nice. Love it. Hey, Henry, thank you so much. Massive. And we genuinely greatly appreciate that. All your support goes to the host of the show and genuinely appreciate all that. So great stuff. So once again, I'll be back playing Mario Galaxy here on this channel just for this week until we make the move over once again to the Side Scrollers Plays channel. So join us over there as well. I encourage everyone to hop on in and hit the subscribe button and join me over there. Get used to watching over there. Get used to it. It'll be great. All right, guys, thank you very much for popping in and being a part of our life. Shagsmith, we appreciate you. Make sure you guys go subscribe to his channel. Go follow Blabs over on Kick and go follow Travis over on the Twitters. Quick side note before we wrap. Actually, I had a pre-planned tweet, which is all about Slam Ball, go up at noon. I did a podcast talking about Slam Ball last night. So if you guys care about my thoughts on that, head over there and watch that over on Twitter. It's great. Oh, yeah, let's go. All right, you guys have a great day. Remember, people are going to try to keep you down. Don't let them. You guys got to go get it. See you guys later. Bye.
See ya.